Fly one time for your mind. Fly one time for your mind.
We are here, and we are back with another installment of the Faithful Review at our new time slot on Wednesdays with my boy Tom Jensen, the man with the plan, my right-hand guy. Come on, Tom. How are you doing today, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great, Coach. It's just this is a fun time now that we've got the roster cut down behind us, and now we can look forward to the actual football.
For sure. Yeah, I feel good. You know, what time is it over there on your side?
11:15.
Okay, so we're midday. Probably catching somebody
Yeah.
who's snatching an early lunch, playing hooky from work. It's 2:15 down in my side of things, and like right now, we kind of like are just turning down the height of the day. You know how it gets like around that 2 o'clock mark. It's either the movers or the shakers get going, or the people who like to take the breaks get moving. So right now, it's in the middle of a good Wednesday for us. But I would love to be nowhere else but where we are right here, man.
Oh,
The
this is
season's
great.
here, bro. The season's here. The training camp is over, okay? And we are officially into week 1. But before we start talking about roster cuts, okay? Like, at least we have to talk about Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams. We've got to go there first.
As always.
So, look, here goes a couple of things right now, bro. Trent is not counting against the roster. He's not counting against the 53, but BA is. They're actually carrying Brandon on the 53. So now I feel as though that we're at a point, we're at like a real rubber meets the road position with Brandon Aiyuk. And what I mean by that is before, you know, Brandon not accruing any fines was almost kind of like a good faith move by the organization. And then Brandon was actually in the building going to meetings. He was on the sidelines at the last preseason game. I feel like that was more of clerical work, so he doesn't accrue any fines, right?
Right.
But now is the true moment where camp is over. The official season has started. Like they are practicing for the Jets right now. You know, the cuts are done. Do the Niners look at BA and say, "Hey, man, we expect you to be here. You know, for better or for worse, we did this whole song and dance with you, with this whole contract, but we expect you to be here." Now, we already have reports that BA is going to hold out. He said that he's not going to play on his 5th-year option, which would show that, you know, he's basically willing to sit out. So are we heading for a disaster? Did they get it done in the 11th hour? Are we talking right now as the ink is drying on the contract and Brandon Aiyuk trots out to practice and this is all for nothing? What's your take?
My take is that Brandon is waiting for 3 to 4 days out because that's when the Niners made a decision with Bosa last year. So he's seeing if there's going to be a final moment of truth. And I think he'll wait to that point. So I don't think there's going to be a deal. But I do think that given that Aiyuk has tried to avoid and has avoided any fines, that he's looking to practice today. And you were telling me before we went on that KNBR is reporting that he will practice. So we'll see if that actually happens.
Right. You know what, Tom? I'm not even mad at you for where we stand right now. I mean, we have bled this thing down to the bitter end, dude. At this stage of the game, I'm ready for it to be over. It's long overdue. At this stage, like what else? What else are we going to be able to talk about? I mean,
well, everything, fortunately, because we've got the season coming up.
There's no.
But,
I mean, what I'm saying about with this situation is just going to be well, Brandon's not here. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, it's just all of this stuff continues to play out where I think that Aiyuk is looking for respect from the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's always going to hold out for what he believes is his market value. And he'll do that to the very end, looking at what Bosa did last year and what the Niners did. So I think that that's the point of no return. That's when the clock finally strikes midnight on this. But that means that we go up to 3 to 4 days before the opener, and that's too late. To borrow your phrase from last week that was great. They need a ramp-up period for BA and Trent. And if you don't have that ramp-up, how ready are you going to be in week 1? That's a real concern. So with Aiyuk likely waiting until that final moment, that puts week 1 in jeopardy. That puts everything with Trent in jeopardy as well. We just don't know. But the other factor that I wanted to talk about that hasn't been discussed really is ownership willing to make the investment to make all this happen? That a couple of years ago, Denise York said that we had spent too much money and that we were looking to save money in a given year, and we were going to hold back. I'm wondering if this year is one of those save years in their mind, and that's why we've seen the Niners trying to hold firm on less money spent, and that could be factoring in, especially with a signing bonus and money up front, and same thing with Trent. But then there's the other factor that's going against that is sort of under the radar. Yesterday, the NFL owners voted to allow any franchise to sell up to 10% of the team to a private equity firm, provided it was approved by the league. So for the Niners, they're valued at $6 billion. 10% is at least $600 million. And speculatively, it could be up to $1 billion. So that would give them the money. And it's just, if you're going to sell a part of the team, there's your money, there's your cash flow. So I would hope that they've got the money now in place, in theory at least, if they want to go forward with this, that they can afford to deal with all this stuff, where before they were saying, we want to save money this year. So I think that private equity bit might help in getting this across the finish line. If they take advantage of it. They know it's there. They know it's future income if they want to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Hey man, over here messing with my flow. Mullet over here. How come your guests get the mini screen? Hey man, this is my right hand guy. This is my man. You know what I'm saying?
I'm good.
Everybody's good, bro. You know what I'm saying? We can do the big screen too. We do the big screen.
Nah.
Yeah, nobody likes this. Nobody wants to do this.
No.
Who wants to do this?
No.
Come on, man.
It looks worse. I mean, this looks a lot better. Coach has all that cool stuff behind him. You don't want to see more of me. Trust me.
We just playing with you, brother. You know what I'm saying? Nah, but yeah, I don't think it's a money issue. You know what I'm saying? I really don't, Tom. I believe that this is a process for them getting ready for the 30 would-be free agents that they have coming up next year. This is for the quarterback that they have to sign coming up. If this was purely about them just winning a Super Bowl, I think that any team would have just pulled the trigger. But I don't know. Maybe the Niners feel like, hey, we're always going to be in contention right now. So this isn't necessarily the bottom line of whether or not we win. This is the process of what we know how to do. And that leads me to something else. This is one thing that came to me when I was having a conversation, is that the point of the season is to be better than the opponent that you're playing, right? That's the point of the season. But the point of the playoffs is who knows how to use their team the best. That's the playoffs. And
strategy and execution.
How do you get the most out of what you have? Not how do you just go out and beat the team that you're playing against because you're schematically better than them. You're just, pound for pound better than them, right? But I feel like every team that makes the playoffs has kind of like answered that question of we belong. I mean, whether you guys may be tilted in this area, but we're tilted in this area. But we all have our strengths, right? Same with Patrick Mahomes going into the playoffs last year. Like, yeah, they weren't what they were they weren't the regular Chiefs, but they still had Patrick Mahomes, right? It's like it balances out.
Yeah, they've got the cheat code.
Exactly. If you get the cheat code, you can stand not to have a couple of receivers, right?
Yeah.
And with us, conversely, it's like, all right, well, if you get all of the trappings of the all pro players, you get the all world defense, you get the genius at coaching, right? Then you're gonna slack a little bit on the offensive line and that quarterback. You just got to make it happen. My biggest thing is that I feel like our biggest blunders are when we get exposed for not knowing how to get the best out of what we have, right? Not showing the best, but the efficiency of getting the best, the pound for it, right? Like
leveraging what you have to the optimal effect.
Yeah, and I think that's what exposes us. And I see it now. I see it with these contract negotiations where we're just using our best negotiation tactics for what we think is going to always keep us in the best. We're going to always be the Niners and be at the top of the echelon in the NFL. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make sure that we make smart, equitable moves, and we're going to be a great organization. But is that necessarily getting the best out of your situation, which you have right now, where you may have to just say, look, the kid deserves blah, blah, blah. For what it's worth, if we really wanted to get rid of him, we could have did it before the before the draft. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like nobody is like blameless in this situation, but
right.
You do have to look at the Niners at some point, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, he's got to be out there.
Commit. If you're not sold on paying Brandon Aiyuk market value, trade him before the draft to then move up in the draft and get one of those impact tackles, as we talked about prior to the draft with Marius Mims and everybody else. So it's just they have to decide, and they waffle because they tend to wish things into being. Well, gee, if we can get Aiyuk to sign for this, then we'll be set up well for the rest of the roster of future free agents and Brock Purdy. So they tend to do these things instead of the strategic thing to do. The best leverage tactic is to strike while the iron is hot. When can you get the most value for Aiyuk before the draft? When can you get the least? Right now. So, talking trades or falling back to a trade at this point is just you're going against yourself because you're cutting back on what you could have received for Aiyuk had you traded him when it made sense.
So that makes perfect sense. And I wanted to get to this question because I feel like it was a good one. From SJ Sharkey 777 asks, will the NFL ever change the fact that players are signing contracts but then can hold out for a raise after agreeing to those terms? Is it fair that players like Trent can hold their team hostage? I mean, I feel like one would say, is it fair that a team can just let go of a player at any time in the middle of their contract?
Well, look what happened with Armstead.
Eric Armstead was due money. And for what it's worth, you could say that the Niners were justified in telling Eric that he needs to take a pay cut because he underperformed his contract, right?
Yeah, well, lack of availability, really.
Yeah. Which led, basically. Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Like, Trent can say, hey, I've overperformed my contract and I want to renegotiate this contract in the terms of real money, right? We went to the Super Bowl. Everybody in the NFL has me as at least top 3, if not the best offensive lineman in the NFL. There's people that consider Trent Williams the best player on this team, hands down. So, is it unfair for Trent to realize that, hey, Christian McCaffrey just got paid. Brandon
Exactly.
Aiyuk is sitting back. And Christian McCaffrey just did the same exact thing, by the way.
Yeah.
It was just much more quiet, much
Yeah.
smoother.
Well, and the team prioritized it. They got it
And
done in 2
They
weeks.
got it done and went to his wedding for good measure. So
That
I mean,
too.
it's so there is that. Let's not forget the fact that there are situations on this team that are mimic exactly what Trent Williams is doing, and they got it done in a blink of an eye. So much, so fast that I don't think people really understand how that it happened. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
But that it did happen tells the other impact vets on the team, okay, I want what you gave to Christian.
Hello.
Trent is fully within his rights to point to that and say, you took care of him. I'm just as important, if not more important to this team than Christian McCaffrey. Take care of me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting paid 20. The top paid tackle now is Tristan Wirfs at 28.1. So square up, give me a raise to make me the top paid tackle in the league, guarantee my years going forward, and then let's put in language about what we can do, say 4 years out. You know, what kind of options would Trent have? What options would the Niners have, et cetera? And that's all doable. But I'm with Trent on this to answer the question. I think that you need to have both sides having the flexibility that's allowed within the collective bargaining agreement. Both sides can take advantage of that to their favor, in Armstead and Trent being the opposite sides of that equation.
Agreed. So what I wanted to get into is the final 53-man roster cut. We know exactly what we got in our roster now. Ultimately, the Niners, they released 11 players and waived 19. Of those 19 players released, offensive lineman Ben Barch, wide receiver Robbie Chosen, offensive lineman Chris Hubbard, T.Y. McGill Jr., Brandon Parker, tackle, tight end Eric Saubert, Trent Taylor, tight end Logan Thomas, safety Tracy Walker III, D lineman Nick Williams, and cornerback Rock Ya-Sin.
Yeah.
Wade,
And some of those guys are coming back.
yes, of some of those guys. We already know right now that Logan Thomas is coming back. There's a possibility for Ben Barch is going to come back. I believe that Rock Ya-Sin may come back, and Tracy Walker III, the safety.
Yeah.
And Tracy Walker III coming back onto the practice squad is also emblematic of Huff may be a little farther out than we think he is.
Yeah, so that's why they brought Walker back, because they wouldn't have 4 safeties for the Jets game otherwise.
Right, exactly.
So Walker is an active player if Huff can't go.
Yes. And it's looking like, Huff may miss out, right?
Yeah. So he could be back week 2 or the latest week 3.
Yeah. But one thing that is good is that Huff has been activated from the PUP list. So right now he is in kind of like the portal, if you will.
Right.
As far as the waivers, there's some guys that we lost, that we waived, that got picked up by some other teams. That kind of hurt me. Garrett Kingston, him getting picked up by the Panthers, that hurt my heart.
He played pretty well. I was surprised that they let him go.
Yeah, I was very surprised they let him go. We already knew that Cody Schrader was going to be a guy that got let go, but he got picked up by the Rams.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm mad about this one, and I don't even think that I would have been mad about this had I not seen who made it over him. But dog, why did Samuel Womack get cut over Ambry Thomas?
Over Ambry, I don't know. I think that they're planning to send Ambry to IR, and then they'll bring in Rock Ya-Sin to replace him, something like that. I don't think Ambry is going to be long for the team. I think that they're just it's roster mathematics of you put Ambry on the team for now, but you put him to IR pretty quickly.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah.
But Sam Womack, I'm okay with letting him go. I saw that he had some missed assignments in the last preseason game, and it's just no. They've got too much talent at DB to keep Sam Womack.
Okay. That's good. Also, Cam Latu got let go. Tay Martin, it's over. Okay, it's over. Everybody get a good laugh. The Cam Latu saga is finally over. Coach's guy is gone. I get it. All right.
Okay.
Shaquille Brown got let go.
Yeah.
As well as Evan Anderson. I'm not too surprised about Evan Anderson getting cut. What about you?
Well, let's go through who they just brought back, their activity over the last. So Evan Anderson, they brought back for the practice squad. Eric Saubert is back on the 53 as tight end 2. Thank God Tanner Mordecai cleared waivers. They brought him back.
I was shocked.
Me too. Tracy Walker, as you mentioned, Tay Martin, Evan Anderson, Chase Lucas, the DB, Ben Barch, Jonathan Garvin, the DN, T.Y. McGill, the defensive tackle, and Mason Pline, the tight end. So all those guys are coming back. They lost Kingston, Cody Schrader, Jalen Graham, Adam Peters bringing him back to Washington, and Sam Womack. So on balance, I think that this is kind of what we expected, is that they would balance out the tight end roster and see how they go forward from here.
So let's go room for room. I mean, group by group, rather.
Oh, I want to address alphas. Let's remember that Larry Krueger was very, very high on Danny Gray.
Oh, my God.
And let's remember that I hated the pick from the moment it was made. Okay. Our public service announcement is done. Now on to the next.
That was a shot, Tom.
Yep.
That was a shot. I had to shoot that down. I'm not mad at that. But look, let's go room for room. The quarterback room, we kept 3. And honestly, it's kind of funny. There's really no surprises with the 3 that we kept. Brock Purdy, Brandon Allen, and Josh Dobbs. I believe that Josh Dobbs is quarterback number 2. I guess we'll find out if and when we need a quarterback 2, but we'll see.
Yeah, I thought Dobbs earned QB2, but since it's Kyle, I'm expecting that Allen is QB2.
Exactly. Also, one of the things that's important about the 3 that we kept is that the NFLPA vetoed the revised emergency third quarterback rule. So that's one of the reasons why they had to keep 3, because now you actually have to have that third quarterback on the active roster in order to call him up. So no more practice squad quarterbacks that you get to just keep in the tuck anymore. So that's the only thing that's important about that. Running backs, we kept 5. Christian McCaffrey, Jordan Mason, Isaac Guerrero, Patrick Taylor Jr., and Kyle Juszczyk. I'm not mad about this bunch. We already knew about the top 2. We know about the top 3, honestly. Juice, CMC, Jordan Mason. Isaac Guerrero, honestly, saw him for 1 game. First time putting eyes on him. He's a pick. I'm not mad at him keeping him.
Patrick Taylor, he's their kickoff returner, so he has to make the roster.
Right. Patrick Taylor Jr., I don't know.
It is just because Elijah is gone for the year. That was the shock.
Well, is it really?
Well, no, but that he was out for the entire season when they hadn't told us anything about it.
Right.
It came as a surprise. That Elijah Mitchell was hurt is obviously not a surprise. But I would imagine that we've seen the last of Elijah in a Niner uniform.
Yeah, he's done. I think they're probably going to go ahead and get a settlement, get an injury settlement. Just go ahead and just cut ties for playing.
And I hope they do that with Ambry as well, is that reach an injury settlement, let him go.
Yeah. He's always going to be connected to the organization. I'm not happy about this. I don't take any pride, but I said this after his first year. I said, we just took his whole NFL career is done. Yeah. What we did to that kid, I mean, he sacrificed his entire career for us for that 1 year. I know why Kyle loves him so much. Because
in part because of that sacrifice, and in part because he never fumbles.
He never fumbles. Yeah. But if you go back and just watch, you go back and watch that rookie year with Elijah Mitchell, and you can see he was like barely finishing games. This kid was running so hard, bro. And he never ran like that in his career. Go back and look at his college career. He wasn't used the way we used him his rookie year. So he basically gave up his entire career for that 1 year.
For one season.
For one season.
Sad.
It is sad. So moving on to the wide receivers, Brandon Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, Jacob Cowan, Chris Conley, and Ronnie Bell. How did Ronnie Bell make this team, Tom?
My theory is that they're worried that Aiyuk might not be resolved by the time of the Jets game or hold out. Mm-hmm. So they wanted 6 receivers for the Jets game, therefore Ronnie Bell.
I
wouldn't keep him. I would have let him go. No, I thought Trent Taylor, Ronnie Bell, Danny Gray gone.
Yeah, I thought they were all gone. I thought they were gone. So that's surprising. Another surprise. Well, not really surprising, but they only kept 2 tight ends. George Kittle and Jake Tungus. Cam Latu, Braden Willis were let go. Eric Saubert is back, but he was let go. What do you think? What's the logic behind them only keeping 2 and letting go of 5 tight ends? Is there anybody out there that they think that they can sign? That have been released?
that would indicate it based on only having 2. Though they brought Saubert back, so they only need 1 more tight end now. But I would imagine that their pro player eval, they've seen some tight ends that are available, and I would expect they'll be signing somebody. They were probably hoping that they could sign a tight end on waivers, but since they were 31st in the order, they couldn't get anyone.
There's nobody.
So we'll see if they sign somebody. But I like the idea of saying we're only going to keep 2 because we want to keep our best 53 players, and our 3rd and 4th tight ends are outside of that group. Therefore, we'll only keep 2 tight ends. I like that thinking. I thought that was good, smart, aggressive. And then bringing Saubert back makes sense. And now they need to sign a tight end for the 4th one. So I think they'll end up with a better roster at tight end because of what they did.
Yeah. Also, something else that I feel like Kyle said that was very poignant is I believe the last press conference that he had before cut day, he made a point to say that this is a 53 roster on Tuesday at 1:00. It's not the 53-man roster for the rest of the season. It's the 53 that we choose right now, plus the 16 that we need to get us through the season. And we always going to choose to go with a guy that we know over some guy off the street that we don't know. The biggest key for a lot of these guys who aren't the Deebo Samuels of the world or the BAs is the biggest skill that you have to have in the NFL is staying in the NFL, right? Knowing how to get picked up, staying in shape, being ready. I thought that was a very good point that he brought up.
Yeah, it showed some humanity from Kyle, which is a side we don't see from him that often. Mm-hmm. And I was moved by it. I thought that it was poignant to say, to let he's aware of the fact that this is a heartbreaking day for guys that get cut.
Yeah.
And that he was trying to cushion the blow for them. But the other thing that I took away from his comment was they're about to let go of some young guys. They're about to let go of people they drafted. Because that's the kind of thing you say to kids that don't know that they still have an opportunity.
Yeah.
Veterans know. Veterans know the league. And so that, to me, that was a comment directed at guys like Cam Latu. This doesn't mean that this is our final 53 or your final opportunity. I don't think Latu will come back to the Niners, but I hope that he continues to work and tries to find a place.
Yeah. I mean, and then some of the guys that you want to keep because they just don't fit in the plans, like a Jalen Graham who went to the Commanders, or a Garrett Kingston who went to the Carolina Panthers, or a Cody Schrader with the Rams. It's just the league, man. You can't keep them all. So I really did like that point. But moving on to the offensive line, We kept Aaron Banks, Jake Brindle, Dominic Pooney, Colton McKivitz, Spencer Burford, Jalen Moore, Nick Sakel, and John Feliciano. Immediately, we need tackles.
Yep.
Guard, center, guard, tackle, guard, tackle, guard, guard. We got 2 tackles. That is not good.
Yeah, that isn't going to cut it.
Yeah.
Unless you're planning on moving Spencer Burford to tackle, but they might have to use him as an emergency tackle at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they're going to have to sign an offensive tackle.
Yeah.
And especially when you factor in Feliciano will go to IR, so they're going to have the open slot. And that slot needs to be used in a tackle.
It has to be. Right now, I mean, they had 2 other reserve tackles prior to this, and they're gone, right? So, right now, the Niners we're really light at tackle. We got guards for days, and honestly, I think that may be the strength to our team, the interior right now. I like Dominic Pooney is an upgrade. He's an upgrade. I would say Colton McKivitz is what you get. you get what you get. But I would say you think that Jake Brindle's going to start at center this year, or they really may try to make this Nick Sakel situation happen.
Well, they could try to make Nick Sakel happen, but based on what we've seen on the field, I'm not that sold on Nick Sakel. He's improved. Now, he was a terrible player last year. I didn't think he should have made the team. This year, I see better play, but I don't see a starter. No. And that they brought back Ben Barch is a tell. That do they really think of Nick Sakel at center, or are they looking at Barch as the backup to Brendel?
It's very confusing.
I think it's the latter.
Yeah, it's very confusing because Ben Barch is back. They cut him, right?
Yeah.
I think that Ben Barch is better than Nick Sakel.
Me too.
I think Nick Sakel, I think exactly what you said, honestly, without trying to dump on the kid because he's young. But last year, he was a problem, suboptimal, not even close, right? It was like, how is he even here? It was that bad.
Yeah.
This year, he's definitely gotten stronger. Okay. He moves with a lot more confidence. He actually moves. He's got good leverage. He knows what he's doing on the field now, right? Not to say that he never knew what he was doing, but you can see he's actually moving with an intent, with a plan. Outside of that, he's not that strong.
Right.
He's not strong at all. He doesn't have any necessarily, and he doesn't move like he doesn't have an anchor. Like he doesn't move with any type of strength. I see him get moved around, or he like more or less shadows guys, gets in the way more than he does blocking them.
To me, an NFL starting offensive lineman has to have starting core strength. Yeah. If your job is to move the man on the opposite side of the line, you need to have a baseline strength, and Zakel doesn't have it. And that's why I've never been in favor of keeping him on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, being the quarterback's roommate sure as hell has its perks. Definitely has its perk. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's true. I agree with this, Otani. Zakel is 25. The kid excuse is gone. It is. It's long gone. You know, if we can look at Drake Jackson with absolutely no sympathy, we could do the same thing for Nick Zakel. And really, I don't know. It's just confusing. It didn't seem like a move that we had to make. I don't think we got better there by keeping him.
No.
Yeah.
But they didn't have good options to begin with. The other guys they had at tackle. Yeah. You know, I think Kingston's a better player than Zakel. I would have kept Kingston, but that's me.
Yeah. All right. You know what I've been working on? I've been working on less coach rants. I've been working.
But I like the coach rants, and I would go to the chat and say, "You want coach rants?" Yes.
Yeah, I got you. I'm trying. I don't want to take over the show because you almost got me. That pisses me off, man. Like,
yeah. Tell it. Speak your truth.
You be trying, chill out, man. Chill out. Chill out. I know what
I
you're
want to
doing.
hear it, Coach.
All right. So with let's move on to the defensive line.
Okay.
Nick Bosa, Javon Hargraves, Malik Collins, Leonard Floyd, Yetur Gross-Matos, Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens, Robert Bill Jr., and Sam Okwanu. Sam Okwanu. So, all right. I think that they got it right here. Sam Okwanu,
in terms of who they picked, yeah.
Sam Okwanu really was quietly whooping everybody's ass during camp.
He played well, yeah.
Yes. I think that that's a really good pickup. The fact that they kept him, I like that. Robert Bill Jr., I don't know. I don't want to say he's bad because that would be disrespectful because I haven't watched. I won't say something that I don't know. But he doesn't flash. I lose him on the field. You know what I mean? Like, well, I don't know where he is.
He's too undersized, and I think that they overvalue the get-off speed. And that's why he was picked, was the quick get-off. But what's he done as a player? He hasn't made it onto the field when he has made it in the practice squad or in the preseason games. He hasn't looked that good. He's made poor decisions, and he's been washed out. So, I think that Beal is a player where if they sign somebody or if they make a move at the deadline, he's somebody they could let go.
Okay. What do you think about our pass rush situation right now? I mean, edge.
It's way too dependent on the starters. The starting four is great. After that, it's pretty barren.
Yeah. I mean, you have really your reserve edge is Sam Okwanu. Your two backup edges are what? Kevin Givens and Yetur Gross-Matos. Like, who's Nick Bosa's backup?
Yeah, well, it's going to depend on Gross-Matos' availability. He's week to week, so we don't even know if he can go for the Jets game. So I think they have to shop for an edge. But we'll see what they do.
It's imperative?
Yeah, I think it's a must move. The two must moves for them are tight end 4 and a backup edge.
Yeah. Garvin, you know what? Jam 18, I agree with this. We picked up Garvin. I don't know when we got Garvin. I don't know when we got him, but I saw him in the Titans game, and he immediately flashed. I think Garvin is somebody that we should have kept.
Well, they did. They brought him back for the practice squad today.
Good. Things are ongoing. I love it. Let me see. Moving on to the linebackers. Fred Warner, Devondre Campbell, D. Winters, Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, Curtis Robinson, and Tatum Bethune. You know there is only one name that I don't agree with on here. I thought that Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles was finally going to get his walking papers this year. Why did they let go of Jalen Graham over Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles?
Special teams.
Man, that's so bad.
Yeah. Special teams shouldn't dictate like that, but in this case they did. Yeah. DFF is one of their better special teams players. They lost Oren Burks. But Burks also got cut, so Burks is available if they want to bring him back. I mean, if you've got DFF back for special teams purposes, bring Burks back. He's a better special teams player.
Yeah.
There's no reason to keep DFF. If you're keeping him for special teams, get Burks.
Yeah. That makes much more sense. I don't know. I watched Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles actually play football, and he just looks like a special teams guy playing football. He doesn't look like a football player. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he looks like an athlete as opposed to a player.
Yeah, he does not look like a player. No. I don't know. Maybe, there's always going to be like team politics of familiarity taking over with position coaches. Guys just like who they like. I feel like that's the case here. Honestly, I wouldn't have been, I'm going to say something crazy, but I wouldn't have been shocked if D. Winters got cut.
Yeah, though he looked so good early in camp. And
did he not fall off?
He did, but I think that part of the problem is just that he started playing against ones and twos and looked worse. That's part of it. But part of it also is that he's got the athleticism to go sideline to sideline, but he doesn't have the acumen in reading the play to know where to go. His angles are wrong, and so he needs to be coached up. But if you're Johnny Holland, you're saying, okay, these guys take 3 years to get to the point where they understand the position, the angles, and they can make the right call. Because you look at somebody like Curtis Robinson, who's come out of nowhere, third year. Because now it's all come together. Now the game's slower for him. So I think they're keeping Winters just with the hope that in the third year it'll all fall together for him. And then he'll be an impact player. So he's a future bet.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I think I don't think Devondre Campbell's going to last the season. I really
Probably
don't.
Not.
I see the way that he plays, bro. He still moves very stiff in space.
Yep.
I don't know if he's fully healed, bro. And we got to see. I feel like when I watch
even healthy.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yeah. When I watch Devondre Campbell play, I see a guy who has put in he's put in ways how to compensate. I see a lot of compensating with him where he's found ways how to get to the flat without completely driving right now. It's like he'll shuffle out there real quick. And good on him for him to be athletic enough to even know how to get around his deficiencies. I get it, but I just don't see a fluid player. I think we're going to see D. Winters a lot sooner than you think.
If Winters gets it, if the light bulb goes on, then he should get on the field. Because he's clearly a better player, and we'll see how that goes. And then we also don't know what's going on with Dre in terms of when he comes back. So
are you putting
we'll
any?
See.
Well, let me ask you this: what's your over under on if we see Dre at all?
I think we'll see him, but I don't think it's going to be until the second half of the year.
I don't think we see him this year. Achilles
is a tough thing.
It's weird in that it's based on the person who's having the injury. They're not all built the same. So we'll see. But he's not running or anything yet. So
no, he's a long way out.
He's a long way out. Yeah. So let's go with the strongest unit on this team, which is so crazy now, but in my opinion, I knew some good people were going to get cut from the corners. I knew because just on how we looked throughout all the training camp. The DBs were hands down the best unit on the team. So we got Mooney, Demo, Renardo Green, not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
Isaac Yadam, not mad at that. Darrell Luter Jr. and Ambry Thomas. Now look. We brought back Rock Ya-Sin, correct?
They're hoping to. It's not official.
I know what you're saying. They're going to designate Ambry because Ambry's got, a broken forearm?
Yeah.
So Ambry's got a broken forearm. So who are they trying to carry onto the practice squad to be that sixth corner? That sixth corner.
They've got Chase Lucas on the practice squad. He's the DB that they've kept.
All right. There's really nothing to talk about as far as the corners are concerned. Like we all said, the corners, I think we're going to shock a lot of teams with how good our secondary is this year.
Yeah, people don't know.
They don't know. Yeah. That's the bright spot of our defense this year is that people don't know how good our secondary is yet.
Yeah, and hopefully they create some coverage sacks for the folks up front. They'll need some help.
We're going to get into that.
Okay.
So, with safeties, Talanoa Hufanga, Jair Brown, George Odom, Malik Mustafa. Now, we already talked about them keeping Tracy Walker in lieu of Huff not being able to go, but they carried him on the 53. They expect him to be here.
Yeah, well, they brought him back and signed him to the practice squad, but every expectation is he'll be active for the Jets game because Huff won't be able to go.
Right.
But once
And
Huff does come back, I think that they'll just send Walker to the practice squad and see if he stays.
yeah. Special teams, no surprises here. Jake Moody, Mitch Wisnowski, Tabor Pepper. So that's our 53. We got a couple of surprises with the wide receivers. We talked about that. Ronnie Bell being able to make it. The five tight ends that they let go of. Very. Do you guys hear my teams?
Yeah, we're hearing this
chime
sound. Yeah.
All right, my bad. It's a work day, guys. It's a work day. I was like, why do I keep hearing?
Yeah. It just feels
sorry,
like
guys.
I'm on an elevator or I'm at the front desk.
Little bit of Outlook love. That's all it is, guys. I was
Okay.
like, I thought that was very loud. It was just hooked to my phone. Sorry about that. But
no worries.
So we're excited about what they've done with the tight ends, being able to bring back Eric Saubert, let go of 5, but still be able to have a strength and solidified room moving forward into the season. Offensive line, shaky. We got to see exactly what we're going to do with tackle.
There has to be a tackle signing. There has to.
Yeah, there has to be. And that's not Trent Williams isn't the tackle signing. There has to be another tackle signing outside of Trent. Right now, we need 2 tackles. And defensive line, I'm okay with the interior. I mean, we got to see what these guys are going to do, sans Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw. But I ain't gonna lie, man. Malik Collins looked good. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Malik Collins looked good against the Raiders.
And he ragdolls the guy in front of him and just keeps going.
Did you see him too,
Loved
Gavin?
Loved it. That was great.
Shit was good, bruh.
Yeah.
So
the starters are excellent. This might be their best front 4 defensively since 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And then you combine that with an improved secondary, and that's a good combination.
Yeah, I understand. So right now, we got to get edges. Right? Would you say would one good edge be enough? Are we one? Let me ask you this: are we one player away from being okay?
No, I think that they need to get. Ideally, they want 2 more edges, really. But let's see what Aquano does. If he can perform in against starters in a regular season game, okay, then you only need 1. But it's sort of jury is out. Is that you're optimistic and hopeful about what Aquano has flashed so far, but let's see it in the game setting.
Okay, 100%. Linebackers, I mean, we got the best linebacker in football. We got to see what Devondre Campbell's going to do. But hey, man, defensively, we only run with 2 to 3 anyway. Let's see how much they ride. I mean, I feel like we're top heavy. In
everything, really. Except for the secondary.
Except for the secondary. Secondary, I feel like we're stout all the way through. Even with keeping Ambry Thomas, I feel like we're stout. And then the same thing with safeties. I feel like our certain safeties coming out in week 1 is probably going to be Jair Brown and George Odom.
Yeah. If Odom is fully healthy, he got dinged up.
So what? I mean, so
it could be Malik Mustafa.
Malik Mustafa may get the start.
Could be, but
Lord
we'll
Jesus.
see. It's kind of just let's see where Odom is at leading into the Jets game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the preference would clearly be to start Odom, but he has to check out and be fully healthy before they get it.
Definitely. What I want to take time to just get this super chat out the way. Ninth Wonder Comics, thanks, bro. Hey, you got to call in again. Keep up the good work, Coach. Thank you, man. So back to the show and the next topic, actually. This is one that I want to know because I feel like our team is our team is made up of our defense. I mean, I understand that we have this high fly offense with these great players, but when the rubber meets the road, our defense is what travels. Our defense is what gives our offense the opportunity to kind of shit the bed, to be quite honest, the first couple of quarters or the first couple of drives, and then finally get our act together and get a score. It's that defense. Right now, we're pretty much the most different that we've ever been as far as our defense is concerned coming into this year. Dre Greenlaw is gone. The interior is completely gone. The edges that we're used to, completely gone. Huff is gone. So right about now, is our defense elite or overhyped? Will the 49ers defense live up to the hype of being top 2, top 3 defense in the league? Do we still have it in us? So let me just go over what would the perceived lineup be. The perceived lineup would be for the defense. From edge to edge on the defensive line, you got Nick Bosa, Malik Collins, Javon Hargraves, and Leonard Floyd. At corner, you'd have Mooney Ward and Demo. At linebacker, you'd have Fred Warner, Devondre Campbell. And at safety, you'd have George Odom and Jair Brown. And at slot, you probably have Isaac Yiadom or Renardo Green. Or you could put Isaac Yiadom on the outside and bump Demo down to
or you can
slot.
put Green on the outside and put Lenore inside. And I think that's what they're going to do.
Okay. So what say you? How do you feel?
I think that they can be elite, but the problem is, I've got to work with this light. The light coming through the window.
You're good.
Okay. The concern is the depth, and the concern is that they're too dependent on the starting 11.
Mm-hmm.
That other than DB, you don't really have depth, and missing Dre Greenlaw. So how's this team going to do in stopping the run? That's the unanswered question, and that's what we'll see against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm worried about. I think that if they can get Dre Greenlaw back and healthy, and that's a huge if, as you pointed out earlier, but if they do, then this defense is truly elite. Then it's special. Short of that, without him, can they still get the job done in stopping the run? If they can, they're elite. If they can't, then they're overhyped. And I think that right now they're more overhyped than real because they don't have Greenlaw and because the run defense hasn't looked good so far in the preseason.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, I feel like they are a little overhyped. We know what this defense is made up of. The front seven. All right. Now, with the secondary, it's a different thing. Well, that was my point. Now, does the secondary have it in them? Does the secondary have it in them to not only take over being the best unit, but to be coached as the best unit, right? So if we do have the secondary being the best unit on the defense, then we have to play to the secondary. So we can't just do vanilla cover 3. We got to do fire zones. We have to go cover 6. We got to really give these guys the opportunity to go get picks, to be aggressive in zone, right? Yep. What I'm speaking about is Palms coverage or in cover 3, what we do, that's not advantageous for a secondary, right? Well, that's advantageous for a front 7 to be able to get to the quarterback, all right? Yeah. But defensively,
it's a vanilla
we don't
defense
have that.
Designed to protect the DBs that don't necessarily cover well man.
Right. We don't have that anymore.
So yeah, what now we've got guys cover, and we need to use that so that they can then stay on their man and enable the defensive line to get a little bit more time to get to the QB.
Right. So that's exactly what the point I was going to make is, if you coach these guys like we did in years past, where we're expecting these guys to play zone, funneling to each other, cutting off routes because we really want to give the defensive line time to get to the quarterback. I understand that there's a time and a place to even still run your old stuff, but I feel like now the Niners are pretty much going to be more of a finesse style defense. I feel like we're going to be a little bit less physical and more savvy to get picks, fill zones. Let's not forget Brandon Staley is here, right? And that brings that whole use case that he has with simulated pressure, defensive linemen coming off the line of scrimmage, being able to confuse offensive linemen with their protections, right? My biggest thing right now is that if you think about it, the Niners have never really been a blitzing defense, right? Because we've always had the front seven to get home. Even when we were at our best on defense, that was kind of like the next frontier for us. It was like, yo, the defense is really good, but we need more sacks. Like, how do we get more sacks? Now, this defense is more predicated upon picks. I feel like we got over 20 picks last season. That put us very high. I think we had a huge difference from the year past to where we were to last season as far as turnovers were concerned at picks. I guess my biggest question is that are we going to be able to lean on our defense the way we have in previous seasons, or are we going to have to start outscoring people?
Well, probably a mix. Is that it depends on who you face, but given that the defense is less able to stop the run this year, that's going to be a concern.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to allow teams to keep the ball. And so it becomes something that you have to do is to be more aggressive in turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to take advantage of that secondary and their ability. You've got guys with ball skills. Jair has ball skills. Mustafa has ball skills. Ward, Lenore. And so use all of that. And Fred, and when he can play, Greenlaw. All those guys can generate picks for you. And so I think they're going to need to be a more opportunistic defense. But as you point out with Staley, I think that he's going to use both five-man front, something that Leonard Floyd has done, and something that the interior linemen have also had experience in. But more than that, the sim pressure, and I think that's another way you tap into the ability of the secondary is that you've got guys who can blitz and finish, and that's something they haven't had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Jair was an effective blitzer at Penn State. Mustafa was an effective blitzer at Wake when he was given the opportunity. You've got guys that can finish. I think that that's something they're going to have to use also.
Yeah, 1,000%. I think, and that's the next move. Honestly, this is a little different. You got Brandon Staley, who is, a known defensive wizard, which is going to be awesome. But this is the first time that we've got a defensive coordinator who was also a DB himself, right?
Yeah.
D'Amico and Robert Saleh both played linebacker, and you can always tell that they kind of coached and coordinated from their own perspective, right? Making sure that the front seven was just stout. I'm very interested to see what Nick Sorensen's fingerprints and DNA will be, his touch in rendition to not only a good defense, but this is the best secondary you've had that this defense has had. So it's going to be interesting to see. Well, moving into the last topic of the show is the opening the season strong. It's time, Tom. We officially have gotten throughout the entire offseason. No more camp talk. Hopefully, no more contract talk, which is a lie. I couldn't even say it without saying it's. We're going to talk about contracts.
We got.
Regrettably,
it's going to happen between now and the opener. We're still going to get more of that.
Yes, we can't. And is this a must-win game? Is this a must-win game for the 49ers to set the tone for the season? And what are the implications of starting 0-1?
Well, I don't think it's must-win because it is the opener. You can recover. You got a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But when they've succeeded, they've started well. The Super Bowl years, they started out winning their opening games and having a run. So if they did that again, that would build their confidence. It would give the team an ability to recover from the Super Bowl. So, sure, it's optimal to win that, but is it a must-win? I don't think so, because you're going up against a Jets team that's very good, that has Rodgers healthy, finally. that has a balanced attack with Breece Hall as the running back, that has a talented defense at the front line and in the back secondary. So it wouldn't be that big of a stretch for the Jets to take down the Niners. And therefore, I don't think it's a must win. And if you're playing in Minnesota, that would be a must win game because they're just not that good. But the Jets are a solid team. The Jets can be in the mix in the AFC this year if Rodgers can stay healthy. So I look at it as it would really help the team in its mindset if they won, but it's not a must win game.
So this is why I think it's a must-win game.
Okay, go.
Okay. And I'm glad that you didn't think it was a must-win game because I would have been pissed off if you did and taken all of my points.
Okay.
So, if the Jets are anything that they think they're supposed to be this year, right? It's really imperative for them to beat us, right? Because they need this win. For us, the reason why I think that this is kind of like a sneaky game for us that we have to win is that the number 1 seed is very much at play for us. We have to get the number 1 seed for us to be able to make it through the playoffs if we make it, right? And losing.
I am not with you and Jesse on that, where the number 1 seed is an absolute that you have to get rest. Yeah. I have been back and forth with Jesse for years on this.
You don't think
you
that
can get
this team
rest?
Needs rest?
No, hold on. I'm saying there's another opportunity you're ignoring for rest. Week 18. If you're already set up so that the players, your starters don't have to play, you can get rest that week. It's not imperative that you get the 1 seed. That's my argument. It always has been. You can get rest. It's just, it's not up to, well, I don't want to rest the starters or I want to be in a situation where I've already got the 1 seed. No. You can get rest. Plenty of teams. I've seen plenty of Super Bowl champion teams that I covered who weren't the 1 seed.
Oh, you're throwing your weight around now, Tom.
That's right. Well, I've seen it. Yeah, the Niners go into Chicago on this incredibly cold day, and they beat them in the NFC Championship, and Jerry Rice makes that play, and it's over. Yeah, it's just, is it absolutely essential? In my opinion, no. But this team has proved in its history that it is, because the 2 times they've gone to the Super Bowl, they've been the 1 seed and they started the season hot. So it might be that this team doesn't have the mental framework to do what the Niners of old did, maybe. But I'm of the opinion that you can still have Week 18 as an opportunity for rest. And I get angry when I hear people saying, no, they have to get the 1 seed. No, they don't.
Yo, you just shit all over my take, bro.
I'm sorry.
That's crazy.
Well,
I think we do, but I think we do. It's important for us to get the 1 seed.
I get your point.
Bye week.
That mentally, this team, given its fragility entering Week 1, needs the confidence builder of winning this game. And the Jets are coming into this game looking at it as a statement game. This is them saying to the league, we're back, we're the Jets, we're actually going to be good this year. So I get your points and I agree with them. I just disagree that the 1 seed is essential and that winning this first game is essential. I think their mindset will be hurt if they lose. But I think that you've got a lot of season left. And you're also looking at an NFC Championship game that if it's on the road, it's in Detroit. You're playing under a dome.
They're playing under a dome. Well, thank you, Tom.
I'm sorry, Coach.
Thank you, Tom.
But still make your points, man.
I was going to say we need to start hot. I just feel lame now. I'll just give myself the lame voice while I do my... We need to start hot. It'll be important for the fans to see us look good. We need to be able to set the tone for the season. And those are my takes. for why this is a must-win game versus the Jets. Tom's points were much better than mine. Thank you. So that's the end of my take. Okay. It was
good on you, Coach.
You convinced me. You convinced me.
Cool.
I'm not going to sit here and be facetious like, yo, you convinced me. You really don't need the rest. It is what it is. I need to shoot down my own take. It was a trash take. Flush that take down the toilet. It was bad. It was a bad take.
I get why you made it though. I think there's sound reasoning behind it. Emotionally, mentally, this team needs to recover from the Super Bowl. The best way to do that is to win this opener.
Yeah, I understand that. But honestly, I think that they're caged in. They believe that they're the best team in the league. They think that they should have beat the Chiefs, and the things that have changed with this team don't matter at all. So I'm here for them to prove us wrong. But I'm also so glad that we are out of the narrative train. Like, no more narratives. We got real football happening. We're able to go see the guys Monday night. Tom, how you liking the new time slot? You like this?
I like this.
I like this.
If we can do this, let's keep doing this.
We're going to keep doing this. I like the midday Wednesday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We go too late sometimes, bro.
Oh,
so,
sure.
Look, man, this was another great show. We'll be on next Wednesday. Tom, what do you have planned for the rest of the week, man?
I'm going to write an article on what the Niners have done with the roster, and then I'm just going to sit back and see what happens.
Definitely. Tomorrow, we're going to have I'm going to do the 4-man front show with Grant, Jesse, and Ryan.
I love the first one.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be on Ryan's channel Thursday. And then on Friday, it's going to be the coaches meeting. Me and Grant have moved our Thursday show to Friday for the coaches meeting. Saturday, we got our call-in show. But the OG show is always going to be the Faithful Review. The Faithful Review is the bedrock of this platform. Also, Deli, I'm planning on going to the Tampa Bay game. So I'm definitely going to be at the Tampa Bay game this year for games. And as you know, man, everything is always good with your guy, the coach. And you understand the slogan, stay low. And keep your feet moving. Have a good one, guys.